Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our virtual wine tasting day on Sunday.
Yes, and we decided to call it Welcome to the Grapevine.
So welcome to the Grapevine.
Yippee, here we are.
So today we are going to be tasting a French Vermentino, and it is Cooler. Hi, William. Hi, Roy.
And what can you tell us about this wine?
So this wine was made in France, and but the grape is actually from Italy.
Yeah.
It is from Sardinia, Italy, actually.
I know, it's pretty cool. So the French stole the Italians' grapes and then made their own wine. What do you think about that?
Those nasty, thieving French people.
Well, as long as they made a good wine, hey, sharing is caring, right?
It is.
How does the world grow unless we share our bounty with other nations, and then other nations can take it and make it their own?
Exactly.
Right on.
Hi, Ron. Hi, John. Thanks for joining. So also, I have a couple notes because last time I didn't have any notes and I was stumbling. So the Vermentino is a light-skinned wine grape. It's primarily found in an Italian wine, but like my mom Patty said, that the French took the grapes and made their own.
Well, they borrowed it and they didn't take them all, but they took them into their region and tried to conquer and say these are our grapes. So I'm sure there's some kind of feud between Italy and France.
So it's also primarily found in Liguria and Corsica and Piedmont, also in Italy. The grapes are amber yellow in color and hang in a pyramidal bunch. So like that.
Like a pyramid.
Like a pyramid.
Almost like a pendulum. Like a pendulum spiritually will hang like that, and then you can hold it up and then it will move in different ways to give you answers. So there's a little spiritual connection in the way that the grapes grow.
Exactly.
How about that?
And also a really cool fact about the Vermentino grape, the vine grows on a seaside. So it grows that way because it brings in the benefit of the extra reflective light that comes off the seed. So
wow.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's a cool fact.
Fun fact. So it only makes sense that this wine would taste best with seafood.
Exactly, and I would be pairing this with a nice hearty grouper or a swordfish. Some kind of a white fish it would go really well with, but Tiffany doesn't like fish. So we have garlic and olive oil and butter marinated sauteed shrimp. And then I have a pasta that has cherry tomatoes, feta cheese, olive oil, and vinegar dressing, and a bunch of basil. We mixed it all up, and that's what we're going to eat. We got a little lemon when we go to eat. We can, it pairs good with the lemon because the lemon raises the flavor of the food. So it'll pair wonderful with this wine. We have some bread and butter, and that's what we're eating today. What are you guys eating?
I thought it was cheese.
It's bread and butter. You can't see.
No, this whole thing, I thought it was cheese. I was like, oh, that spread looks good, but I guess it's butter.
It's butter.
Butter is butter. All right.
Everything with butter is butter.
Also, I just wanted to take note, too, that this wine is supposed to have like a citrusy flavor, almost like a grapefruit or like a lemony tang to it, like a little bitterness, a little bit dry. So we are definitely going to see it. I'm not big on dry wines.
Yeah, me neither.
But
we'll see. I think it'll go great. We have our wedge of lemon to go with it, and the lemon was also added to the pasta, a little bit of the lemon juice from the lemon. So I think it'll pair perfectly well. I'm not a big dry wine drinker either, so if our tongues get dry and fall out of our mouths, you'll know that the wine's too dry.
William says, may I join you?
Yes, come on over, William. I have plenty of food upstairs. I love to cook, so this is my weekend to cook, and Tiffany's kind enough to bring the wine, so I bring the food.
And I just have to say that I was very fortunate as a child growing up with this lady because she's phenomenal, like as a cook. Like I love her food and I eat everything.
She does. She eats everything. Her nickname was the Scrapper as a child, so we never had to worry about storing leftovers. That's true. You really an aficionado of food and you love to eat.
I do, as you can tell.
So, and as we're going to be tasting the wine, I have a really cool spiritual story to tell because I like to include some spirituality in our wine tasting because by trade I am a medium, so I can connect with the spirit world, but I want to connect with a really cool story about Mary Magdalene today. So we're going to get into that as soon as we crack the wine and pour it into the glasses.
Do you want to do the honors?
Sure, why not?
I'm not good at it.
And this is an interesting, twist off. It's a twist off. So I like a cork in my wine, and lately I've noticed that they're making a lot of wines with a twist off. So I don't know what the story is behind that, but white wine needs to be consumed way before red wine. So you can never leave your white wine sitting for too long because of the fact that it will go bad. It will turn to vinegar, actually. So how does it smell?
It smells really good. I can definitely smell the citrusy. It smells really sweet, fruity almost.
It smells fruity and fresh, something that you might want to drink on a warm summer day. This would be great in a sangria. If you took a bunch of fresh, the fruits of the season of the summer, and then you put them inside of a big sangria. You know what I mean?
Sangria jar?
Like a margarita pitcher.
Oh,
and then you put it in there.
Like a tea thing.
Yeah, and then you add some of that, and then you add some champagne, and you're going to have a fantastic sangria.
And it's so funny that you said that this would taste really good in the summertime. This white wine, the Vermentino, actually is best during spring and summer.
No kidding.
Yes, that's what they said.
Well, we're consuming it in the
spring, kind of,
but it was harvested then. So let's check it out.
Hi, Tyron. Hi, Eddie, Jamie, Kim, Bob. Cheers.
So here we go.
Not too dry.
It's a little dry.
It's a little dry. It's not too dry.
It's not super dry, but it's a little dry.
Yes. And it's sweet. It's not overwhelming with sweetness. So it's actually a really good wine.
That's why I think this would make blend great for a sangria, because you can mix the champagne in it, the champagne of your choice, and you can make the champagne a little sweeter so it's not dry, and then the dryness will balance itself out. So I think it would be really good. And then if you had some fresh strawberries, you could cut them up and put them in the bottom of your glass and actually infuse your wine with some fresh strawberries.
That sounds good.
Why didn't you bring some over?
You didn't tell me. I do have strawberries. You should have told me.
I'm just teasing you.
Well, we should have.
All right. So I'm going to put the lemon on my pasta.
Hi, Veronica.
Because I like lemon.
Oh, shit. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry.
Tiffany. This is
I know.
PG rated.
It slipped.
So let's try it. Let's see how it tastes with the how it pairs well with food. So we're going to actually eat food in front of you. So we hope you don't mind.
I wish they had smell-o-vision, I'm just saying, because it smells phenomenal.
Mm. And the lemon, I think it pairs perfect with the wine. When I said I wasn't going to eat on Facebook Live, I was going to make Tiffany do it, but I couldn't resist because it smells so good. Sure. You're welcome. Does anybody have any questions about the wine? We like to have a little fun. We're calling these segments "Welcome to the Grapevine," and as my husband likes to call our bar in the basement, it calls it the Dewdrop Inn. So we're going to call it the Dewdrop Inn to the Grapevine. So here you go.
Oh, classy.
I am classy.
That's like really cool.
Right.
Like, how Dad comes up with some of the
I know he does.
My dad's very smart.
So who has any questions? Anybody who's a big white wine drinker and wants to know what William thinks is funny? Who is William, by the way?
I don't know.
Sorry, William.
I'm sorry. I got almost like 4,500 friends on Facebook. If I don't know you personally, I do apologize.
But now is the time to get to know Tiffany.
Exactly.
There's a little bit, to get to know about Tiffany. She's a mother, right?
A 4.
A 4, yeah. And so, as me as her mother, can say that she's getting everything she told out as a child and then some. And that's the way to
more than that.
That's how motherhood works. So us as parents look forward to our children growing and having their own birth. And when Tiffany was a child, I drank a lot of wine. So I want to share.
That's what's happening.
Exactly. So I want to share a little bit about Mary Magdalene, because I researched spiritual things that we can find harmony with while drinking this wine. So Mary Magdalene ended up, after she was a disciple, after the resurrection of Christ, she ended up on the southern coast of France. And 3 of them traveled. It was actually Mary Magdalene, Martha and Lazarus, which was an Egyptian servant named Sarah, and Mother Mary, they say, traveled there. So when they got to the town, they were actually called the town the Holy Marys from Sea. So that was kind of the lore behind it. And even talking about it gives me goosebumps. So after the death of Jesus, the disciples were spread to the 4 winds across the sea in southern France amid the Rose. Legend says that a boat with no sails, no oars, landed on the shores of Provence. 3 women named Mary, including Mary and the Magdalene, along with Martha, Lazarus, and an Egyptian servant named Sarah, are said to have landed at Saint Maries de la Mer. Sorry, my French up here. Now named for the arrival of the Holy Marys from the sea. The story goes on that each settled in a different area of France. That Mary Magdalene herself started a church, and she retired to live out her days in a grotto on the high hills of Saint Bayum. I'm going to guess that's how you say it. Why are so many modern seekers fascinated by this tale of Mary Magdalene herself? Well, the truth of the origins of these tales are unprovable, and Mary Magdalene became one of the most revered saints in France. So her trek from leaving Rome, because the Romans were out to kill the disciples because of spreading the word of Christ, she ended up on the shores of France, and she was highly revered, and she became a saint over there. And so back in the day, women in France were considered equals to men, and they held high places of power in France. And it wasn't until the 13th century that man came in and kind of took women's power away. So it really is very interesting, and I'm not all about the Me Too movement, but it's interesting that this is the story that I pulled up today because it kind of coincides with the Me Too movement. So that's a little bit about a little story from France. So if you ever go to France, you can go visit the church that she created, and find out more about Mary Magdalene over there.
That's so interesting.
I know, it's pretty cool, right?
I didn't know she went to France.
I didn't either. You never know until you start to look, right?
Right. You learn something new every day.
And so when they called Jesus the Anointed One, that was because she was the one who had the oil, and she anointed his feet before the crucifixion. Yeah, pretty cool, right?
That is very cool.
I do too. And so I was raised Catholic, so I was raised with those kind of beliefs, and the saints and the angels and all of those things. And the story of Mary Magdalene goes, she was a disciple of Jesus, and the male disciples, as in modern day now, became very jealous of her because of her power and her connection to the Christ. So in biblical times, they called her the whore, and she really wasn't a whore, but she was one of Jesus's revered disciples who carried on his work. So isn't that interesting? So women in power today, as we drink our white wine here, if you rise to a place of power, at times women are considered whores, or she must have slept her way to the top. And so it's interesting to see the correlation of that's how we viewed her back in the day. Right. Isn't that cool?
It is very cool.
Anyway.
But the Roman Catholic Church viewed her as a whore, but France put her on a pedestal.
Well, France welcomed her. So they welcomed all women, not just Mary Magdalene, were risen to a place of equality with men. They held great places of power and influence in France. So it was a great place for her to go because she was able to spread the word of Jesus and tell his story of his life lived. And that's what a medium does. I tell the story of a life once lived. So it's pretty cool.
Did you know she was a saint before you read this?
You know what? Mary Magdalene has always been a fascination for a lot of people. Not for me so much, but for a lot of people. And no, I really didn't know she was held in saint's regard in France. So drinking this white wine from the south of France, what a great story to bring to the dinner table.
It is.
It's a good conversation piece.
It totally was. Thank you, Mary Magdalene.
So what else you got to say about your wine?
So I know a lot of times alcohol percentage is a benefactor in drinking. So this is actually 12.5% alcohol.
Okay.
So it's really not, I mean, it's it's in the medium.
Middle, yeah. What is a normal range for a bottle of wine?
I'm not too sure, but I want to say maybe like 8%.
Well, I thought it was like 14.7.
Is it? I don't know.
I'm not really sure either, but I thought 12.9 was a pretty high percentage for alcohol volume in wine, but I'm not really sure of alcohol volume in the wine. But this does pair great with fish. So if you're going to drink this wine, make sure you get yourself some grouper or some swordfish, or you can pair it with some garlic sauteed shrimp like we're eating here today. And you can get this great bottle of wine. And how do they do that, Tiffany?
Yes. So you can get this bottle of wine and others like it through DC, which is Direct Sellers. Mm-hmm. I am a representative for them. You can message me on here on my Facebook if you're interested to learn more, or you can go to my website, which is Direct Sellers, and just like it sounds, DircetCellars.com/Tiffany Ann.
Oh, great. And when you said sellers, I'm thinking S, so I'm glad that you clarified that.
Well, it's like cellars, like a wine cellar.
Well, also sellers is a wine cellar.
Oh, yes.
See?
But no, it's cellars like a wine cellar.
Yeah, because that was kind of confusing. And so when you spelled it, I'm like, oh, cellar like the wine cellar.
Yes.
So this is also a great wine to store in your wine cellar. Someplace cool. You want to keep it someplace cool, and you want to store it on its side horizontally,
not vertically.
And before you drink it, give it a nice 24-hour chill in the refrigerator. That's what I did before we opened it up today, and it gives it that freshness that it needs, because white wine isn't very pleasurable when it's room temperature or warm.
Right, and this tastes best chilled. So you definitely want to have it chilled.
And anybody who puts ice in their wine, unless you're having a sangria, not even in a sangria, I would say don't do it. You don't want to add ice to your wine ever. Some people
who wants a watered down liquor?
Well, some people,
Not me.
Some people like to put ice in things.
I guess.
Like my mom, she'll fill a glass full and then she'll pour wine in it. And I'm like, Mom, that's sacrilegious.
I haven't seen Grandma Tiny drink wine in forever. She's usually taking Jello shots.
Oh, well, we won't get into that. Hi, Pam. How are you? Thanks for joining us. So anybody have any questions about the wine in particular? How does it taste with the food? How dry is it? I'm going to say it's a medium dry. It's not a super, super, super dry. It's a tad bit on the dry side, but not too overpowering, right, that I couldn't enjoy drinking it with my meal.
It definitely doesn't leave your palate like thirsty for water.
Right.
That's how I would put it. Like, like when you're like, and then you have to take a drink.
Like a kid.
Well, no, like I drank wine where it was just so dry, like your face wants to turn inside out.
Yeah, that's super dry. And
it's really dry.
And one thing that a good idea, like say you're serving something and you want to make a white wine sauce, as Justin Wilson used to say, anybody remember him? I'm sure some people remember him. He would say, if you can drink it, you can cook with it. And you want to make sure that when you're cooking with wine, you might want to pair it or use the wine that you're going to consume with dinner as it becomes part of your meal. So at times it's good to have 2 bottles of the same wine on hand so that you can actually add it to your sauces on your stove.
Yes. And that's the good thing about Direct Sellers too, is even if you sign up as a customer, you get 2 bottles of wine. So you can choose either red, white, or a combination of both.
So you get 4 bottles of wine, right? But 2 bottles of each?
Well, you get 2 bottles of wine if you sign up as a customer.
Okay.
But you can choose either 2 reds, 2 whites, or a combination of both the wine.
And so if they're a customer, how much does it cost them per month?
It costs $49 a month to be in the club, the wine club.
Okay, so what if you're a distributor and you're getting 4 bottles of wine? How much is that costing you?
So to become a distributor, it's $250. It's a one-time fee, and then it's $80 a month, and you get 4 bottles of wine.
Okay.
And you can choose all red, all white, or a combination of red and white.
Okay, so it works out to be about $20. $20 a bottle.
Yep.
Oh, last week I was confused. I thought it was $40 for 4 bottles.
No.
So I'm sorry. Apologize. But the more you drink, the price doesn't matter.
And not only that, but we do what we call a 3 for free. So if you become a customer and then you get 3 friends that sign up as customers, for every month that they are a customer, your wine is free. Wow. You just pay $9.99, which is the shipping cost. And if, say, like 3 months from now, all 3 friends or 3 other friends are sign up as customers, your wine is still free because it's 3 for free.
Right, and that's really great to know, to get that. So you have to pay for the shipping and handling, though.
Yes, which is, $10, but you're getting, the rest for free.
And I've had a taste about 4 of the bottles of wine that Tiffany has gotten since she's been in the club, so I've gotten to taste about 4 of them, and they've all been very high-quality wines, and nothing that I would ever complain about, nothing that I would ever want to send back, so I really thoroughly enjoy it. So we want to thank you for joining us today.
I just want to say, too, real quick, when we came back from Mexico, I looked at my parents' garbage, and my dad drank a whole bottle of Portugal wine. And I was like, you drank my wine? He's like, oh, it was so good. I didn't know it was yours. So I just want to say that. My dad drank a whole bottle of wine. It must be good.
Yeah, and he only likes really high-quality wine. But we want you to share this video and tell people if they're, interested in finding out about the wine, just, ask the people through the grapevine. And join us next Sunday, because I think we're going to be doing a red.
Yes.
And then you'll have to see what kind of red we're doing, and you're going to have to see what kind of meal that we pair it with. So we're going to try to make sure that we keep it interesting, and we can show you different meal choices that you can actually have with the wine, so that you can enjoy being a wine club member, and you can wine and dine your friends and, look like a big shot in your basement.
Exactly. And you also will get something with your wine, too, cards about the wine that you receive. So it tells you exactly where the wine came from, what it tastes good with, or what it pairs with, and the flavors are inside the wine as well.
Yeah, and then if you really like the wine a lot, you can do your research online and see where they're selling that particular bottle at the grocery store, who's carrying that wine, so you can get extra bottles of that wine. So it really gives you a plethora of options to choose from as you're in this wine club. So we want to thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for joining us at the
grapevine.
The grapevine.
Do drop in.
Do drop in.
Bye, everyone.